Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dorris. I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives in Indiana's 9th Congressional District. For the purposes of shameless self-promotion, today we're going to be reading from my website, and I'm going to be giving you some feedback on it. You know, websites are great and all, but until you hear that feedback, you don't really necessarily understand. We've got a lot to get to, so let's get to it. So, this is my website, dliamdoris.com. That is dliamdoris.com. All right, we're going to skip the intro, and we're going to get into the meat and potatoes here. I've identified crucial areas where our nation demands urgent change. The essentials for human life. The basic needs of individuals, food, clothing, shelter, and healthcare, should never be commodities subjected to the free market. Struggling to meet these fundamental needs breeds misery and is often the root cause of social unrest and crime. Basically, I'm saying that people need food, clothing, and shelter and healthcare to survive. Whenever they have the essentials needed for life, it's simple. They're just happier people. Crime goes down, things improve. Nobody should ever have to starve or be homeless or, without a home. Nobody should, not have clothes on their back, and they shouldn't, have to deal without health care. I mean, these are just essentials for human life. It's not like we're living in 1818 anymore. We're living in 2024. These things should be provided to each and every citizen, regardless of what their socioeconomic status is, period. There's nothing more really you could say about that. That's just what should happen. A lot of people ask, how can we make that happen? Well, how it's going to happen is not necessarily as important as setting that goal. We need to get people their basic necessities no matter what, and having them, spend all day, every day trying to go and scrounge that up and spend every cent that they have on those basic essentials. It's just not living, man. The way I believe is that economic freedom is the only true freedom. If you don't have economic freedom, you don't have true freedom. There it is. Rejection of legalized bribery. Due to Supreme Court rulings of Citizens United and Buckley versus Vallejo and a few others, what has happened is that our representatives, our senators, even the President of the United States is able to be legally bribed. And I'll give you a quick rundown on how that goes about. So essentially what happens is it comes in the form of big campaign donations or super PACs, super PACs running ads, whatever, There's supposed to be a separation between candidates and their PACs, but there usually isn't, and it's usually well connected. And a lot of times the candidates themselves are making the calls, but the reality is that you have big groups out there that have specific interests. So what happens is they give out the money or the contribution, whether or not it's gifts or straight up money, whatever it may be. They're like, hey, we have this and we can put it out for you, but we want you to sign this piece of legislation, no questions asked. And the reality is that too many of our politicians, most of them in fact, basically they get a big fat check and a bill to sign and says, hey, here's your check, just sign it and get rid of it. Vote this way. And whenever they do that, they're not even reading this legislation. Like, I'm a plebeian blobber. I don't necessarily, I don't claim to be smarter than anybody else, but I guarantee you that I read more legislation than most of our U.S. House of Representatives and our Senate. Why? I just open it up. I'm a technician by trade. Whenever I read these things, they're clear to me, clear as day. Some people say they read like VCR instructions. Well, I agree, they do. That's why it's easy for me to read it. So I read these, and I'm like, wow, what are they voting on? Case in point, take the Patriot Act. Nobody read the Patriot Act, and anybody who does is like, wow, what is this? What did they sign? But I digress. Whenever companies, corporations giant PACs are putting out this stuff, giving out fat, big checks and saying, sign here, vote yes here, bada bing, bada boom. Right now, we don't have a representative republic. We have an oligarchy. But moving on. Government serving the people. A clear demarcation between government and corporate interests is imperative. Corporations represent profit motives, while the government's role should be centered on the welfare of its citizens, particularly those grappling with meeting their basic needs. This is pretty self-explanatory, you know. We don't need a wall between us and Mexico necessarily. We need a wall between corporations and our government. The government right now, they just aren't serving the needs of the people. They're serving the needs of big moneyed interests, corporations, military industrial complex, you name it. You know, whenever those two have started to mix, it's no longer a representative republic. It is no longer a democracy. It is effectively an oligarchy. One second. And we can't have that. We can't have that going on. We can't have that going on. Challenges to our democratic principles. I know that sounds a little. I just wish I could phrase that just a little bit more. But here we go. Challenges to our democratic principles. The equation of money and speech in our democratic system silences the majority, giving a disproportionate voice to the affluent minority. This imbalance undermines the essence of democracy, muting over 90% of the populace. This is absolutely 100% true. Let me go over this real quick with you. What happened is money is now ruled to be free speech. Well, and so what that means is people with money have free speech. Those people who don't, they're completely muted. And whenever I say big money, I'm not talking about, you know, us plebeian blah blabbers. I'm not talking about even like teachers. I'm not talking about doctors. You know, and to some short extent, maybe professional athletes, but everybody who has over, you know, several $1 million are the only ones that have free speech in this nation. You know, and so they're putting this stuff up, you know, on all of our media outlets. You know, it is specifically meant to favor them and not us. You know, we don't have a voice in this. This is like, oh my God, this is unacceptable. Well, nobody's listening to us. You know why they're not listening to us? Because they don't want to. They want to put money in their pockets. They care more about their personal profits than how you're treated in life. And it's just as simple as that. Remember, when money equals free speech, we don't got it. Emphasis on diplomacy and humanity. Let's go over this here real quick. Upholding humane values and diplomacy, both at home and on the global stage, defines our moral compass. Those who reject these principles cannot be allies in our pursuit for a just and equitable society. Simply put, I'm against the war machine. You know, wars more often than not are fought for profit and they are there just to enrich the military industrial complex. You know, the people putting together the weapons of destruction. You know, let's face it, the only winner in a war, it's not side A, it's not side B, it's the military industrial complex selling both sides their weapons. You know, they're like, we'll just get richer, buy more weapons. You know, it's a star belly sneech versus the non-star belly sneech. You know, it doesn't matter who's got a star on their belly. The person who's swapping back and forth the star is making the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way it is. There's I know that's a Dr. Seuss reference. But the reality is the military industrial complex, they win no matter who wins and who loses in any given conflict. Wars should only be fought as a response to human rights concerns or cases such as genocide. They shouldn't be, you know, fighting over, you know, whose flag is on what side or, you know, whatever tribalist freaking thing that they have. You know, keep in mind, a lot of times wars are being instigated by the military industrial complex. Why? For the purposes of making money. And if you don't realize that, if you don't see that, listen to Eisenhower. He'll tell you all about it. But let's move on. Condemnation of the forever wars. This dovetails in just perfect. Wars are fueled by the profit-driven interest of corporations and the wealthy and breed suffering, claiming the lives of soldiers and civilians while lining the pockets of the industry. Rejecting the foreign wars is paramount to upholding dignity and global peace. There it is. Like I went over this just a few seconds ago. There it is. It's self-explanatory. Reject all the forever wars. Nobody should be getting rich off the pain and suffering of others. Ever. There's nothing more you can really say about that. And those who do are just reprehensible. And by the way, they're the ones paying off our politicians to write these bills. This is my homepage. I'm not going to go over some at the bottom. I've already said a lot of that in my little signature here. Up at the top. I'm a democratic socialist. Yes, I'm one of those crazy socialist kind of guys. But let's be real. What does this mean? This means I care about the people here in the United States of America. There's nobody who matter more to me than my friends, my family, my colleagues, those people I love out there. They're just amazing. So that's what that means. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a bit of a deeper dive here, and we're just going to quickly read some of this next page here. The next page will be my platform positions and so on and so on. Advocating for economic justice for all Hoosiers. I live in Indiana. I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives in the state of Indiana. Hoosiers are my primary focus, but I'm also thinking about people nationwide and worldwide. Advocating for economic justice for the lower 95% of Americans is essential for economic health of this nation. Right now, 95% of Americans are not getting the financial compensation they require. Money is the lifeblood of this nation and must circulate through the economy and not clot in one place. There it is. Ethical governance, ending the political corruption. We've covered that, but I'll go ahead and read this out here because it's super important. You can't say it enough. You can't pound this hard enough, okay? I quoted the Marine hymn here, and to keep our honors clean. There can be no ethical governance whenever our government officials can be legally bribed. Right now, because of Citizens United and Buckley versus Vallejo, politicians can take an obscene amount of money from the ultra-wealthy and mega corporations. And that big money means big influence. They pass legislation which cuts taxes and bails out the ultra-wealthy and mega corporations, which in turn leaves the tax burdens on your shoulders and the shoulders of your kids and your grandkids. Boom. It's time to put a stop to that. Absolutely. Joining the movement for ethical governance. Everybody should be involved in this. Everyone. And if you're not involved in it, get involved. This affects each and every single person out there. The ultra-wealthy and mega corporations can take care of themselves. The corrupt politicians are quick to spend your money on corporate bailouts and scoff at the idea of spending money on you. That is absolutely 100% correct. Our tax money isn't for the corporations. The corporations can take care of themselves. That money should be spent on you. It's your taxes. They're supposed to be spent on you. Yes. Advocating for ranked choice voting. I'm not going to read this blurb. Ranked choice voting is just an essential thing that we do not currently have. Let's face it. Whenever you're trying, right now we work off of, voting for the lesser of two evils. It's the reverse political polarization effect. Right now, people aren't voting for the people they want in office. They're voting against the people they don't want in office, which is, it just blows my mind that people want to vote that way. That nobody has a candidate out there that they really love. They just hate the other guy more, and it's crazy. And to appropriately represent ourselves in this democratically elected representative republic, we need ranked choice voting, which means I'd prefer to have this guy, but if this guy isn't available, I'd like this guy, and I would like this guy, or I'd like this guy. There's some mathematical equations on it, and I won't cover that. But ranked choice voting, what you could say is, I'd prefer to have this guy, but if I can't have this guy, I'll take this guy or this guy. It's really that simple, or lady, whatever the case may be. Ranked choice voting is super important. We need to pass that yesterday. It's vital to having a healthy democracy. There's just no doubt about it. This guy or that guy, ain't going to get it done. Promoting universal health care. Of course I promote universal health care. I don't think that it should even be quote-unquote affordable. It should be absolutely free. Do you pay taxes? Yes. Here's your health care. Boom. Done. It should be that simple. It doesn't matter how much it costs. This is a goal that we've had for years and years. It's absolutely essential. Healthcare should be a human right. It used to be that healthcare used to be really cheap. Now you can't even afford your deductibles. You have to pay these super high premiums on your insurance, and to get a like a modest, like, hey, this is my copay. Whenever that copay is more than what people make in a month, unreal. Like, that's just not the way it should be going. The insurance industry currently runs our healthcare system. It's obscene. We should get rid of that. Healthcare should be free at the point of purchase. Boom, there it is. I'm not going to read all this. You already know how this one goes. Feel free to go ahead and go ahead and go over this if you want to. Or again, DeliumDorris.com. That is DeliumDorris.com. Promoting educational excellence. That's self-explanatory. An educated populace is a happy populace. The better the education, the better the worker, the better the production, the better the nation. It's just simple as that. But we're going to cover this a little bit more in depth here in just a little bit. I've got a whole lot of stuff I want to go over with you guys as far as this stuff is promoting environmental action. I'm going to go ahead and read you this, and we might circle back around to this in a little bit. I think that climate action is absolutely something we have to address. It's the largest existential threat that we've ever faced as mankind. And our tepid addressment of it is just not going to work. But let's go over this. Choose one's battles wisely. This is a battle worth fighting. Climate change is happening, and it's our duty to aggressively combat it. Our world will recover, to that I have no doubt, but this is a clear and present danger to all of humanity. 100%. 100%. The Earth will live no matter what. But before, in the process, will it kill off humanity? You're absolutely right, This is the biggest threat that we've ever faced. Whether you support ideas like the Green New Deal or other resolutions, it's time for us to get together and put our hearts, minds, and souls into getting work done. The lives and livelihoods of our children and grandchildren depend on it. Actually, no, I'm going to talk about this. I think that we should address this through our U.S. military. You talk to any veteran. I'm a veteran. I know most of my friends are veterans. And if they're not veterans, they're from a military family or a military background at very minimum, right? So, you talk to any of them, what does our military do 90% of the time? They go around picking up cigarette butts. Even whenever they're overseas, it's like, okay, let's go police the Chihuahua or something. I don't know. We don't actually have a lot of purposeful meaning things other than, going and killing each other. Like any veteran who's spent any time overseas, been in a war zone will tell you that stuff gets old real quick. It doesn't matter if you're me or Chris Kyle, killing gets old real quick. It's just a ridiculous concept. Why don't we fight a battle that's actually worth focusing on? And right now what we could do is repurpose our military. The military adapts to anything, any situation. Like I said, I'm a veteran. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. Improvise, overcome, adapt, right? We're going to improvise, overcome, adapt. If you give us a mission, and that mission is climate change, we're going to improvise, overcome, and adapt, and we're going to make sure that it gets done. That's a guarantee, right? So, we have the greatest military in the world. Why don't we put it towards battling the largest existential threat known to mankind? That's all I'm saying about that. Promoting workers' rights. I promote workers' rights, obviously, but I'll go ahead and read this to you, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Workers should be paid what they're worth. Absolutely. Right now, if you have a job, it's probably just a negotiation, if we want to call it that, between you and your lawyer. They aren't providing a service to you by giving you the job. You're providing them a service that makes you and their company money. And they are likely underpaying you and your colleagues. 100%. 100%. I don't care if you feel like you're making a lot of money. You're not making as much as what you're worth. Period. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Unless you're maybe like Elon Musk. But anybody who's watching this video makes less than what they should be. Anybody. You have to be a billionaire to think that you're making the money that you should. You're undervalued and underappreciated in your job, and no pizza party should convince you otherwise. Unions help tremendously with that. Yes, they do. And we need to empower ourselves by empowering people to unionize. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if a company ain't going, they ain't making profit. And here's the thing: is you're not selling, you're not working for them. You're selling them your labor, your body, your time away from family, things like that. They should be paying you appropriately. And unions help out a lot. Like some people complain about, well, unions take their dues. They take $20 a month or something like that. And it's like, dude, in the difference between the pays, like it's tremendous. It's just a drop in the bucket compared to how much you'll get closer to being paid what you're worth. Like I'm not saying that the unions will 100% get you paid for what you're worth, but they'll get you a lot closer than a non-union would. Anyway, moving on. Don't let people tell you that paying union dues will take out of your pocket. Yeah, I just said that. Standing with your colleagues is far more effective than standing on your own. 100%. Like, maybe you can be effective in anything. Maybe you can't. But I guarantee if you have somebody at your back or shoulder to shoulder with a group of people, you're going to be far more effective than by yourself. It doesn't matter what you do, what your goal is, whether you are a battle-hardened warrior, whether you're a scientist. A group of scientists is always stronger than a single scientist, and that's just a fact. And it doesn't matter. That's why you have entertainment guilds and so on and so forth. The more the people, the stronger the organization is. Promoting personal freedom and privacy, absolutely. The government should stay out of our lives. What we do inside of our own homes, it has nothing to do with the government. They should stay out of it. They shouldn't tap your phones. They shouldn't, go and read your search history. Nobody really cares. Nobody cares. But let's go ahead and read this paragraph. First, fight for right and freedom. The Marines hymn. Again, Marine Corps veteran. It's my thing. There's no more important issue than the promotion of personal freedom and privacy. Right now, our freedoms and privacy are under attack from every side, whether it's privacy being eroded for the purposes of corporate data and marketing, or law enforcement invading your private lives and the immoral search and seizure. We must slow and end that attack. Every time that the political parties point their fingers and blame each other, they attempt to take freedoms away from one side, which ultimately erodes everyone's freedoms on both sides, not just one side. We have the right to be free and our lives private, and this cannot be repeated or yelled loudly enough. 100%, 100%. Ending the prohibition of cannabis. We're not going to read this. This is absolutely 100% true. We got it. We just have to end the prohibition of cannabis, and for that matter, prohibition doesn't help anything. It only worsens the issues. Whenever you prohibit something, whenever prohibition is done, there's always going to be a group of unsavory types, criminals, who are going to go through and bypass prohibition. Yeah, you can get it. It's going to cost you more. It's going to be less healthy. It's going to cause conflicts between the law-abiding citizens and the non-law-abiding citizens. Create death and despair with law enforcement agencies, so on and so on and so on. How many people are in jail right now for nonviolent crime of smoking a little bit of reefer? You in that? You get non-violent people out of jail. You get them back out there being productive members of society. Jail should be for violent offenders only. Let's be real. But right now, there's too much concentration on people who smoke a little bit of weed. Let's move on. I'm not going to read that part. Ending the wars abroad. I'll read you this real quick. War's a racket. That's a quote by Major General Smedley Butler, USMC. If you're a Marine, you know who Smedley Butler is. I don't think that looting other nations is remotely acceptable, especially at the expense of civilian and service member blood. It's heinous and criminal. Take it from a Marine Corps hero, Smedley Butler, war is a racket. With little exception, most wars are declared by the very wealthy by proxy of the very corrupt in order to loot the resources of another nation. 100%. If you are a veteran, if you were in Iraq or you know a veteran that went to Iraq, they all will say the same thing. We were there for the oil. I mean, we have even our politicians, whom some of us agree with, some of us disagree with. Hey, we should go there and loot that oil. You know, like, heaven forbid, you know, you get a young teenager with a little bit of acne. They might go to war with that teenager just to fucking drill for the oil out of that kid's face. That's just the way it is. You know, that's all we're interested in, is looting other nations. You know, make a buck. At what price, though? Gene Debs once expressed, it's the ultra-wealthy that declare all wars. They have everything to gain and nothing to lose. It's the workers who ultimately fight all the battles, and they have nothing to gain and everything to lose, especially their lives. 100% true. 100% true. We're not making a buck off of that. You know, you'll see your gas prices drop like 3 cents a gallon or something, maybe. That doesn't help anybody. No matter what anybody tells you, 3 cents a gallon isn't going to make you or break you. Right? We don't see this. But you know who does? The oil executives. Period. They're making just money, cash hand over fist. And how do they do this effectively? They're going over and killing people and taking their stuff. That's how it's done. You know, and then they sell that stuff and they make even more money, you know? And other people are glad to help the oil industry, like, you know, the military industrial complex. They're like, you can have the oil, we can sell the weapons. It's really that simple. It's just unbelievable. With very little exception, such as cases like genocide and humanitarian operations and the like, the military intervention in this is not needed. There it is. There it is. That's my platform and positions. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the next thing. The next point here, or the next page that we're going to go to, is going to be a little bit different. These are my vision statements, and I'm going to go over these with you one by one by one. And I intend to clip this video a little bit later, so you know, I just want to get this all out here for everybody to see. I want to be able to clip it so anybody who's interested can see what my stance is, whatever. You know, I said I was a crazy socialist. That may be the case. Let's see how crazy I'm going to be. You know, keep an open mind here. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. I'm gonna read you this this whole thing here real quick, and you can decide whether or not I'm crazy. And if you think that I'm crazy, that's perfectly acceptable. I don't care. I don't mind. It's not going to change my life. You know, I'm not. I'm not going to pretend like I'm something I'm not. And I'm not going to try to, blow smoke up your butt. That's just the way it is. You know, I'm going to go over who I am, so you know that I'm being truthful and honest and sincere at every point in time. My name is Liam Dorris. It's short for Dale William Dorris II. I'm a socialist. I advocate for socialist economic models, and I support politicians who support socialism. I advocate for ending the duopoly. I advocate for third parties and independent candidates. All true. I think that the greatest document in the people of this nation ever wrote was the Declaration of Independence. I believe that people have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I believe that the founding ideals of the Constitution of the United States of America, I believe in and support a democratically elected representative republic. I accept that I'm savvy, bold, verbose, audacious, tenacious, and feisty. It is what it is. I accept that I'm viewed as eccentric. 100%. I accept that I'm firm and fair. I'm kind, but never mistake kindness for weakness. Important. That's a quote from Al Capone. Oh, sort of. I accept that the deepest selfish parts of my heart, I have justified making my life better through making the lives of others, lives better for others around me and being subject of those improvements. 100%. If I make everybody else's lives better, my life gets better. It is what it is. It's, you raise the floor, you raise everyone. I will not rise from the rank and file. If I should rise, I will rise with the rank and file. Yes, 100%. I accept that I'm a vocational specialist and not an academic. I'm a specialist in measurement, a metrologist. That's what I am. I'm a metrologist, specialist in measurement. You could say it's science of measurement. And I should measure what is measurable and make measurable what isn't. So I need to put that in quotations. That's a quote by Galileo. I've made it my business to measure society, and how I measure society. In order to know virtue for its own rewards, one first must acquaint themselves with vice. Only then can we know full measure of mankind. 100%. 100%. I'm a revolutionary anti-war socialist from southern Indiana, walking in the footsteps of, with the same poetic style of, Hoosier native Eugene Victor Debs, and I take a more modern approach on socialism. I believe that true freedom can only be achieved through economic freedom. 100%. We've gone over that one, and I will hammer that point home every time. True freedom is achieved through economic freedom. That's why economic justice is such a huge thing. I support and promote socialist economic model of the mixed economy. Okay, I'm going to pause there for just a second. Mixed economy is just the Nordic economic models. It's a hybrid of both the socialist economic model and the capitalist economic model. You know, it keeps people driven who need to be driven. You know, we have to account for greed. But at the same time, we have to make sure that everybody's taken care of at the same time. There's other economic models out there I love, but this one right here specifically, I've gone through it. I've taken into consideration my brothers and sisters on all sides and came up with the conclusion that this is the best model for other people here in the United States. It's not my favorite, but it's the best one for everyone. And it takes into account the most, and it's the most versatile. You know, it's not dependent on capitalism. It's not dependent on socialism. They work together and dovetail off of each other. It's super amazing for here in America. Let's move on. It has a socialist core with cherry-picked social and capital policies to promote a healthy economy. True. I believe that the government is responsible for the basic needs of society, the general welfare of the public, as we begin the age of AI and automation. Hey, whenever AI and automation ramps up, a lot of people are going to be out of their jobs, and they're going to need those basic necessities. Period. This includes, but it isn't limited to, things such as housing, healthcare, education, utilities, and a monthly stipend for all citizens. We need to get started now. AI and automation are already a thing, and they're growing. You know, and whenever it starts going full speed, and we don't have this in place, a lot of people are going to suffer. Because if you're in a job that could be replaced by a robot, you probably will be replaced by a robot. It's as simple as that, folks. I believe that everybody should have the opportunity to be rich, but no one should have to live unhoused, in poverty, or go hungry. Boom. Let me say that again. Make sure that everybody understands this is how I believe. I believe that anyone should have the opportunity to be rich, but no one should have to live unhoused, in poverty, or go hungry. Boom, there it is. We, the people of the United States of America, are part of a global community. We are powerful without doubt, but with great power comes great duty and responsibility to ourselves and the rest of the world. It's only then, whenever we can fix ourselves, and it's only whenever we can fix ourselves that we can fix the rest of the world, and we have a lot to fix. We're behind the. How's the old saying go? We're behind the 8 ball. We are. This should have been done yesterday. I am anti-war. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I've spent time in a war zone. I'm anti-war. Any veteran will understand what I mean right then. War is a racket and is most often fought for profit and plunder of the elite through abuse, exploitation, blood, and tears of those who would fight, be part of, or subject to it. Those elite have made it a game where they have everything to gain and nothing to lose, while the soldiers and civilians involved have nothing to gain and everything to lose, especially lives. We've covered that. We are not the world police, nor should we be. If and only if we are, then we certainly do not protect and serve, and just as certainly we are a brutal and oppressive police force. There it is. Everybody knows that's true. It doesn't matter where you are at on the political spectrum. You know it's true. I'm not a pacifist. I can't stress that enough. Just because I'm anti-war doesn't mean I'm a pacifist. I don't believe that wars should be fought to increase the holdings of the elite, but rather a response to egregious human rights violations that the world can no longer ignore, or during peacetime where the enemy is nature, natural disasters, and climate change, to put a highly trained military to use on something purposeful for the people of this world. Covered that 100%. I will never back down from that position. In times of peace, we should be putting our military to those efforts. I do not blame the people of this nation for the irrational kayfabe and culture war that is being perpetuated by the elite, duopoly politicians, or the respective media entertainment propaganda. No, I do not blame you. Whenever you see, hi, my name is whatever, and I want to do this, and this, and it looks all flowery and great, of course you want to vote for them. It doesn't matter what side you're on. If you see this and they represent your values, what you need, what will best help you and your family, and they're saying the right things, of course you want to vote for them. Does it mean that they're actually going to do it or follow through or do it in the correct manner? No, absolutely not. And guess what? That isn't your fault. I can't say that enough. It's not your fault just because you voted for them. And there's a lot of spin. A politician can make anything sound like it's righteous. That's just a reality. Any politician can make anything sound righteous. I'm not going to try to do that. I don't like to have to make stuff up. But, this is just the way it happens. This is the way it goes. Irrational kayfabe and the culture war that is perpetuated by respective media. As a public figure, I never punch down because I'm no better than the meanest among us. That's true. I'm just a guy. I'm sitting in my house, sitting in my dining room, set this up so I can give you this video. I'm just a regular guy. I'm not better than anybody else. The only difference between you and me is I'm stepping up. That's it. There's nothing really great to say about that. Somebody's got to do it. I have the capability to do it, so I'm doing it. It's my duty to do these things. I'm a United States Marine Corps vet. I made an oath. I'm fulfilling that oath every day. Every day. I need to make the lives of those around me better. I reject the idea that artificial entities such as corporations are people. I reject the idea that money equals free speech. If and only if money equals free speech, that means that the majority of this nation is completely muted. 100%. We've gone over that, though. Let's move on. I reject the idea of political bribery, legal or otherwise. 100%. I'm not on the capitalist political spectrum, where it's liberalism versus conservatism. I'm just not. It's just not. I'm a socialist. It's not the way I roll. I'm on the socialist political spectrum, where it's liberty versus order. And the reality is I'm somewhere in the middle somewhere. And the reality is I have very few peers to even contrast and compare myself to. I would say I'm probably I believe in liberty a little bit more than Bernie Sanders, who, if he's on the socialist political spectrum, he's towards the center too. I do not support capitalism. Pure capitalism is like a game of Monopoly. And at the end of what happens at the end of almost every game of Monopoly you've ever played, it's almost a rule in the rule book. You have to flip the table. Why? Because it's not built to be fair. It is a representation, and it was designed to be a representation of capitalism. And the board will eventually get flipped. I don't have anything. I don't have to do anything but wait. Capitalism will crater and burn on its own. True. And through the ashes, we will see the rise of socialism, or at least that's my thought. That's my hope. The social idea of socialism is that everyone gets taken care of first, and that the balance of power should be in favor of its citizens, not its elite. That means you and me, not Bill Gates, not Elon Musk. I reject the Capitalist Democratic Party as an organization. The Capitalist Party promotes a corporate oligarchy, and that would include all things synonymous. True. I just can't be 100% down with the Democratic Party because they support an oligarchy, corporate control. A nation that is controlled by its elites. I reject the Capitalist Republican Party as an organization. The Capitalist Republican Party promotes despotism, and that would lead to and that would include all things synonymous. Authoritarianism. I'm anti-authoritarian, and I just don't like the idea of everybody telling me exactly how to live my life and when to take. Never mind. You get the idea. I reject the capitalist duopoly. This is important. This is an important paragraph. I reject the capitalist duopoly as it is the kayfabe of the political elite. The Capitalist Democratic Party are the faces, and the Capitalist Republican Party are the heels. The fights are scripted, the outcomes predetermined. This is done to control the population using entertainment. At the end of the day, both capitalist parties have the same few elite owners. 100% true. And if you think that it's anything else otherwise, again, let me talk to you about the military-industrial complex. This is why I advocate for and stand in solidarity with third-party candidates, independent candidates, and their voters, within reason. We may be ideologically different, but we all deserve more than what the duopoly has done and is doing. It's better to vote for something you want and believe in and not get it than it is to vote for something you don't want or believe in and get it. True. We're in that situation right now. The only wasted vote is for a candidate or an issue you do not want or do not believe in. A lot of people tell me I'm wrong about that one, but that's 100% true. I reject the idea of voting for the lesser evil, as it only ratchets our political system more in the direction of evil. Hey, this guy is less evil, so let's vote for him. But we're going more evil. Yeah, but not as evil as the other guy. No. I just can't be down with it. Sorry. Can't be down with it. This article, blah, blah, blah. We're going to move on from this. This was a vision for economic justice. Liam Dorris, a salty jarhead veteran and a socialist. Hey, I'm being upfront with you. Can't blame me for trying here. Let's move on. Let's go to the next topic. A future we can believe in. In the heart of Indiana's 9th Congressional District, we are building a movement that transcends politics as usual. My commitment is to real change is rooted in a deep understanding of our challenges our communities face. Here's a glimpse into the core issues driving our campaign. Education for all. I'm not going to read this. There's so many others that I just have. I have better defined in other pages. So accessible healthcare. And notice I didn't say affordable. It's accessible. I think that all healthcare should be free at the point of purchase, or however you want to put that. Whenever somebody goes to the doctor, they shouldn't write them up a bill. They should take care of them. We're not buying Nintendo games here. We're going in there for our own health. Some of us are dying. Last thing we need to do is be put into major debt or have to consider whether or not we want to declare bankruptcy because we need a few stitches. All right? Healthcare should be accessible to all, should be free at the point of purchase. That's it. Economic equality. Our communities deserve an economy that works for everyone. I'm committed to the policies that promote job growth, fair wages, and small business development. Yeah, I support small businesses. And by small businesses, I don't mean like shell companies that the ultra-rich put together to, juggle money back and forth to each other. I'm talking about mom and pop shops. All right? I mean, if you're a mom and pop, and you have a local business where you're serving breakfast to people at all hours, coffee to people who are finishing up at the bars at night, I support you, 100%. In fact, if I had more, I would go to more. But I'm not. They've all been replaced by McDonald's, Burger King, and so on and so on and so on. Right? I love mom and pop shops. Never forget that. And you should love them too. Business, small business development. By investing in local economies, we can build a more equitable and prosperous future. 100%. Environmental stewardship, custodians of this planet, we must take bold steps to address climate change, protect our environment. Through sustainable policies and a commitment to renewable energy, we can safeguard our natural resources for future generations. We've covered that enough so far, and we'll move on. Social justice. I firmly stand against discrimination and injustice. By championing policies that promote equality and inclusivity, we can build a society that uplifts every individual, regardless of race, gender, or background. Background. That means political background. Like I'm not here to necessarily go to bat for Democrats. I'm going to bat for both Democrats and Republicans and socialists and everybody who's out there, libertarians. It doesn't matter. Why? Because we all deserve a better shake at life. And what our government and the military-industrial complex and other corporations are doing to us is just plain wrong. I'm a socialist, but I'll go to bat for any conservative any day of the week because their lives are just as bad as anybody else's. All right? We're all getting punished at the same time by this oligarchy that we live under. Let's be real. This campaign isn't about winning an election. It's about building a better future together. 100%. You know, I've ran for the U.S. House of Representatives. This will be my third time. And, you know, people are always like, you lost. How do you feel about that? And the reality is, okay. Maybe I could do better next time, but you know what? That's not what this is about. It's about the messaging. It's about the setting goals. It's about getting this nation to the point where it absolutely should be. You know, like, again, I don't go to bat for any single party or any single person. I go to bat for all the working class. You know, and I'm going to continue to hammer it until the day I die. Why? Because that's the right thing to do. Thinking about all people and not just one side or the other, or this group or that group, or playing tribalist, you know, like, not my thing. Not my thing. Trying to improve everybody's lives. You know, you improve one life, you improve all lives, improve all lives. Not just lives on one side or the other. You know, this team sport, red versus blue thing, just not for me. I'm here to represent people. And more politicians should adopt that idea and give up playing team sports. It's stupid kayfabe anyway, so let's move on. Join me as we fight for a government that truly serves the people, where everyone has a voice and every voice matters. Together we can create positive, lasting change for our district and beyond. There you have it. That is a future we can believe in. Let's move on. I'm going to take a sip out of my Captain America cup. This is coffee. It's very creamy. It's got Splenda in it. I enjoy it. Cheers. A vision for healthcare. This is not super long, but this is just my vision. This is, again, setting goals, right? Because if you're not setting goals, what are you doing? You're running around with no direction. You don't know what you're doing. You set the goals, you have something to drive towards. Imagine a future where healthcare isn't just a service, but a fundamental right, a cornerstone of society that values the well-being of every citizen. This is my vision for healthcare, and I invite you to share. In this future, the term affordable healthcare is replaced with accessible healthcare. It's a world where individuals don't have the weight of the cost of the medical care against other essentials like rent or groceries. Healthcare is not a privilege for those who can afford it, but a guarantee for everyone. At the heart of this vision is the belief that a healthy society is a strong society. It's a commitment to economic justice, recognizing that this nation's strength lies in the health and well-being of its people. 100%. Universal health care, Medicare for all, or a national health care service isn't just a policy. It's a pledge to build a fairer and more compassionate nation, which we need to be there. As we journey towards this vision, we must set clear and attainable goals. I stand unwavering in my commitment to a healthcare system that prioritizes justice and equality. Join me in advocating for a future where the health of every citizen is a top priority, creating a legacy of compassion and fairness for generations to come. Together, let's build a society where accessible healthcare is just not a dream, but a reality that reflects our shared values of empathy, equality, and a commitment to well-being of all. There you have it. My vision for healthcare. Vision for education. This is a little different before I read it. I'm going to scoot myself in, and I'm going to take another sip of my coffee, where I just realized my coaster stuck to the bottom of my coffee cup. Cheers. In my vision for education, I see a transformative system that not only equips individuals with knowledge and skills, but also contributes to the broader concept of economic justice. This is probably one of my most fleshed out yet forward-thinking positions that there are. So bear with me. Again, this is on dliamdorris.com. My website is dliamdorris.com. Education to me is more than just an academic pursuit. It's an investment to the very foundation of our nation, the people. As we delve into critical issues from healthcare to education, all are viewed through the lens of economic justice. Let's explore the transformative power of an education system aligned with our collective vision for a fair and equitable society. Efficiency is the cornerstone. Central to my vision is the idea of efficient education system that recognizes the diverse paths of the individuals may take. Beginning with general education in the early years, we can identify and nurture each student's strengths and inclinations. Vocational and academic equality. From the 9th grade forward, a default path is identified, emphasizing vocational and academic paths equally. Specialized education in later years ensures that students are not only prepared for the workforce, but are also armed with the skills needed to thrive in their chosen fields. What am I trying to say there? Okay, so there are just some of us who are meant to be lawyers, doctors, other people are meant to be engineers and scientists, We just have everybody out there, they have a specific mindset that pushes them towards a specific goal. They're just really good at it. For example, I'm mathematically inclined, I'm scientifically inclined, and that's the path I should be under, no doubt about it. It's just what I'm good at. Politics, maybe, but engineering, STEM, that kind of stuff, that's what I'm geared for. You know what I'm not geared for? Music. I try to play a ukulele from time to time, and I'm horrendous at it. I should never be a musician, but there are people out there who are naturally inclined to be a musician, and that path for each of us can be identified by the time before you're in the 9th grade, and you should be immediately put on that path going forward. You don't need to be learning about, I'm a STEM guy. Last thing I need to know is music or art, or I could take some elective classes in that, but I don't need it. It's not a path that I'm going to be on. I don't need to hammer that out anymore. I need to be given the skills to operate outside in society. I need to be put on that track immediately so I can get into the workforce as fast as possible and being productive to society and productive to myself. But let's move on. Completion by 22. By streamlining the educational journey, the goal is for every citizen to complete their education and or training by the age of 22, fostering a workforce that is not only skilled, but is also timely. I think that's a noble goal. By the time you're 21, 22, you should be out in the workforce doing what you got to do, doing what you're good at. Maximizing the efficiency of every citizen. Like, I'm not saying that you have to go down these roads. You can elect to go not be on the path that, like you're naturally inclined. Like, for example, let's just say I want to get out of STEM and go into, I don't know, politics. I should have that option. You should have that option. Everybody should have that option. you know. But, like in the case that, you don't know what you're doing, which is the case for many young individuals, they don't know what they're going to be doing with life. What are they thinking about? They're thinking about boys and girls or, the birds and the bees, whatever. Last thing they're thinking about is, am I going to be a doctor or a lawyer in 15 years? I don't know. No, that's not the way kids generally think. Sometimes they think about it in very short terms. Keep in mind, whenever you're young, like we think, whenever you're young, you think of time as going so slowly. Like 2 weeks is forever whenever you're a kid, right? You're not thinking 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. You're a kid. You're not, like kids who do that, I mean, they're gifted in their own right. But generally speaking, they're not thinking about that. And I'm okay with saying that. But let's move on. Vocational education is a crucial role. This is super important, okay? Recognizing the demand for vocational skills, I emphasize the pivotal role of vocational education in balancing our workforce. By increasing the supply in the trades, we can address the needs of our nations while providing individuals with fulfilling and economically viable career options. Let's be real. We want people in the vocational fields. We need them in the vocational fields. Like, people are book smart. They aren't always good with their hands. And we need people, and we need as many people equally good, and it be an honor to them to say, hey, look, we need these. We'll just say STEM. Engineers, technicians, whatnot. Whether you're working in the medical fields or you're part of the U.S. military, whatever the case may be, you just need some people just need to be working with their hands. That's where they're talented at. While other people who are, say, academics, they're talented with thinking through things. And we need to have those people in there. People who, who are wasting their time, energy, and effort by being a mediocre student in a field that they shouldn't be in because that's what society has pressed. That shouldn't be the case. We should be tailoring ourselves to our own individual skills, and what we're naturally inclined to do. Take the way we think and build upon that, not try to force us off the path of where we're naturally inclined. Vocational fields are super honorable and is super needed, and some of the best paying jobs in the nation because we don't necessarily address those from time to time. And we should absolutely be, focusing on balancing out academic and vocational educations. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. Both of them are honorable. Not everybody belongs in one or the other. And there you go. A policy reform for tomorrow. While specific policies are not yet outlined, I acknowledge the imperative for continuous reform. A more efficient and expeditious system is the mountain we must climb, and I'm committed to facing that challenge head on. Hey, we need to get this done. Education is so critically important. It's not just for, how much money we put in our pocket, but how much we contribute to our own society and how we measure up against others, fellow societies worldwide. We're getting beat because we don't have the right people in the right places. We want to have a strong country, and we need to educate ourselves to be a strong country. Education is an investment. Economic justice begins with education, 100%. We shouldn't have to pay individuals for what they can. We shouldn't have to pay the individuals for what they can do. We should compensate them for their labor, be it in academia or the trades. Education is a tool that we're giving our citizens, and that investment should be freely given throughout this nation. What does that mean? All of we're giving each individual tools. All right, we're saying we want you to go out and be a productive member of society. And people who before they're educated, they're like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to be a productive member of society? I don't know anything. Well, here's your tools. And this is the tool bag that fits your natural inclination. Are you a woodworker? Well, here's the tools that you need to be able to go and do that. Are you good with your hands? you good with your mind? Here's your toolkit. Now we're enabling you to be a productive part of society. And those tools, like, they shouldn't necessarily be, something people have to go pay for, because they don't even know if they need it yet, And even if they do, they don't know if they understand it. They don't, before you're educated, how do you know what you want to be educated in? No, you have people out there who should be identifying the inclinations of folks and saying, hey, this is the toolkit that you're going to need. Here, let me put you through some education. Let's see how you get a handle on this. We'll figure out where you're going to go, how you're going to be. You're going to make sure that you're making plenty of money. We'll make sure that you're armed to go out and do the jobs that you need to do. Will it take a little bit of effort? Sure, but you know what? We're not going to charge you for the tools that it requires you to do your work. Here you go. It is what it is, and not identifying people for their strengths. It's just unbelievable. As we journey towards economic justice, education stands as a cornerstone, a tool that, when wielded wisely, can dismantle barriers and build bridges towards a more equitable society. Together, let's form a future where education empowers individuals and ensures economic justice for all. 100%. There it is. Again, this is a vision for education. 1 second. A vision for ending homelessness. That's going to be our next topic here. A vision for ending homelessness. In the United States, the issue of homelessness persists, with over 500,000 individuals experiencing it on any given night. These are not just statistics; they represent the lives of the affected by a lack of access to basic human needs, shelter. On the flip side, there are approximately 17 million vacant homes across the nation. 500,000 versus 17. That's 34 empty homes for every one homeless person. We have the ability to house everyone. We should absolutely do it. But let's move on. Human right, housing. I firmly believe that housing is a fundamental human right. No person should find themselves involuntarily unhoused. The vision is clear. Every individual, every family should have an access to a dwelling, a place to call home. And it's not just a matter of affordability. It's a matter of basic decency and human rights. By ensuring that everyone has a place to live, we are not just meeting a basic need, we are fostering the principles of justice and compassion. Tackling homelessness. The statistics on homelessness are a stark reminder of the urgency to act. Over 500,000 people without a home on any given night is a crisis that demands a solution. It is what it is. By addressing this issue head on, we not only provide immediate relief to those in need, but also work towards building a more equitable society. It's about recognizing the humanity in each individual and ensuring their right to housing is not just acknowledged on paper, but upheld in practice. Utilizing vacant homes. Until we can build, community housing, we have plenty of vacant homes. And this is huge. Again, it's 34-1. 34 vacant houses for every one homeless person. Houses, apartments, whatever, dwellings. Simultaneously, there are 17 million vacant homes in our nation. These dwellings represent a tremendous opportunity to bridge the gap between the unhoused and the available housing. By strategically repurposing unoccupied residences, we can make significant strides towards ending homelessness. It's not just about providing shelter, it's about utilizing the existing resources to create a more just and compassionate society. Economic justice in housing. Providing housing for all is not just a moral imperative, it's a step towards economic justice. When individuals and families have stable housing, they can better focus on education, employment, and overall well-being. By ensuring that most basic needs are met, we lay the foundation for a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. This vision for housing is not just about statistics, it's about people, their stories, and our collective responsibility to creating a positive change. I got the footnotes, I got my sources Bottom. 34-1. This has been my vision for ending homelessness. Where are we at? Does it even say? We're at an hour. Fair enough. The pursuit of peace and justice. The pursuit of peace and justice. In contemplating the future of our nation, my stance on war emerges as a critical facet of a vision anchored in justice, compassion, and ethical principles. As a Marine Corps veteran, my perspective on war is shaped by the harsh realities witnessed firsthand. The toll of war extends far beyond the battlefield, disrupting communities and traumatizing individuals. That cannot be emphasized enough. Shout out to my fellow veterans. My commitment to rejecting war for profit is deeply rooted in the concern for the well-being of the working class, both civilian and military, and the dedication to upholding human rights. War, when waged for profit and corporate interests, becomes a betrayal of the values that we should cherish. It exploits the lives of everyday people for the gains of the elite. This moral and ethical stance underscores my unwavering rejection of conflicts driven by financial motives. I firmly believe that our nation should prioritize diplomacy, dialogue, and global cooperation over the pursuit of conflicts motivated by greed, 100%. The destructive cycle of war perpetuates suffering and leaves a lasting scar on the collective psyche. As a person who places human rights above all else, my position on war reflects a commitment to rejecting the injustices such as the violation of human rights, torture, and the loss of innocent lives in the pursuit of profit. In navigating the complexities of global relations, I advocate for a discernment in distinguishing conflicts that genuinely threaten peace from those manipulated for ulterior motives. The path to a more peaceful world requires a reevaluation of our priorities and a dedication to dismantling systems that perpetuate war for profit. I envision an America that leads with empathy, compassion, and commitment to justice. This vision extends to our foreign policy, where we engage with the world not as the aggressors, but as allies in the pursuit of global well-being. My experiences in the military instill in me a deep sense of responsibility, a responsibility to protect and preserve the lives of individuals, whether they are our own citizens or the citizens of other nations. This responsibility is inseparable from a commitment to human rights, guiding my advocacy for foreign policy that builds bridges rather than walls. As we navigate the complexities of international relations, fostering a spirit of cooperation, collaboration, and understanding is paramount. By prioritizing diplomacy and de-escalation, we can contribute to a world where conflicts are resolved through dialogue and where the pursuit of peace takes precedence over the pursuit of profit. There it is. In summary, my stance on war is rooted from a profound concern for people and human rights. It reflects a commitment to justice, ethical governance, and the values that define a just and compassionate society. Through thoughtful, principled foreign policy, we can work towards a future where the specter of war is replaced by the enduring pursuit of peace and justice for all. There it is. The pursuit of peace and justice. Revolutionary horizons. Again, this is Revolutionary Horizons. In the tapestry of my political conviction, the threads of anti-capitalism and anti-imperialism are woven in the sense of urgency and passion for justice. It's not just a mere rejection of the established systems, but a call for a profound reevaluation of how we structure our societies and interact on a global stage. At the heart of my anti-capitalist stance lies a fundamentalist critique of the system that perpetuates inequality and consolidates wealth in the hands of a privileged few. Capitalism, as it stands, has morphed into a force that often prioritizes profits over people, leaving vast segments of the population marginalized and struggling. The wealth gap widens and systemic injustices persist, all while the pursuit of endless growth takes a toll on our environment. My advocacy isn't against the prosperity, but against the model that thrives on exploitation and avarice. Imperialism, the extension of a nation's power through coercion or force, represents a relic of a bygone era. The idea that one nation can impose its will on others is not ethically questionable, but is also a recipe for global instability. My anti imperialist stance rejects the notion of dominance and control, calling for a paradigm shift towards cooperation, diplomacy, and mutual respect. It's about acknowledging the interconnectedness of our world and understanding that true progress is only possible through collaboration. As I navigate the complexities of anti-capitalism and anti-imperialism, my vision extends beyond critique. It's a blueprint for a new world, a world where economic structures prioritize the well-being of all of its citizens, not just a privileged elite. A world where nations don't seek to conquer, but seek to understand, support, and uplift one another. It's a vision grounded in empathy, justice, and a shared commitment to building societies that empower every individual to thrive. To be an anti-capitalist is to challenge the status quo. It's to question pervasive narrative that accumulation of wealth equates to success. It's a call for economic systems that prioritize equitable distribution of resources, where the basic needs of every person are met without the shackles of financial burden. Universal health care, affordable housing, and quality educations are not just luxuries, but essential components to a just society. Simultaneously, my anti-imperialist stance emphasizes the importance of diplomacy over aggression, cooperation over coercion. It envisions a world where nations collaborate to address global challenges like climate change, poverty, and inequality. Imperialistic endeavors, whether military interventions or economic exploitation, only serve to perpetuate the cycle of violence and suffering. As I delve into the complexity of these stances, it's crucial to understand that this isn't an abstract ideology, but a tangible roadmap for a transformative change. Anti-capitalism and anti-imperialism aren't about tearing down for the sake of destruction, but to dismantle oppressive structures to make way for something better. It's about fostering new societies where dignity of every person is recognized, where the pursuit of profit doesn't override the pursuit of human welfare. The intersections of these convictions lead to a vision where economic justice isn't just a lofty goal, but is a foundational principle. It's about creating systems that uplift the most vulnerable, providing a safety net that ensures no one falls through the cracks. It's about acknowledging the historical injustices perpetuated by imperialism and actively working towards repairing those wounds through equitable partnerships and global solidarity. In the grand tapestry of my political philosophy, anti-capitalism and anti-imperialism form the backdrop against which every policy and position is scrutinized. It's a commitment to justice that transcends borders, recognizing that the struggle for a better world is a collective endeavor. My journey is one of advocacy, of challenging the normative structures that breed inequality and suffering. It's a journey towards a world where every person, regardless of their background or location, can live a life of dignity, equality, and purpose. Revolutionary Horizons, a vision beyond capital's chains. There you go. And to our final little bit that we're going to get to here. This is more to say, hey, look, I'm not just, a Democrat. I'm a leftist. There's a difference between liberal Democrats and leftists. Leftism isn't restricted to party. Most of us, we don't really want to be part of the party. We think more broad. We think about everyone. We don't just think about, our little tribe. Leftism is thinking about everyone. It's not thinking about a couple people here, a couple people there. No. But let's get to it. Leftism Unchained, Breaking the Party Shackles. Defining leftism, the unfiltered word of leftist politics. In the vast spectrum of American politics, the term leftist often finds itself entangled with labels like Democrats, liberals, and social democrats. However, it's crucial to recognize that being a leftist is not synonymous with being a Democrat, liberal, or even social democrat. Let's unravel the complex tapestry, distinguish the colors, and paint a clear picture of what it means to be a true leftist. Defining leftists beyond party lines. Leftists are the torchbearers of radical egalitarianism, standing for social and economic equality with an unwavering commitment to dismantling oppressive structures. They're not confined by party affiliations. Instead, they champion ideals that go beyond the limits of mainstream politics. Leftists view capitalism critically, advocating for systemic change that places human rights above profit margins. Democrats and liberals, more than just labels. While Democratic Party often leans left, not all Democrats are true leftists. Democrats, in a broad sense, encompass a diverse range of political beliefs. Liberals, too, fall under this umbrella, supporting policies that aim to balance individual freedom with social welfare. However, leftists challenge the very foundations of capitalism, seeking to complete an overhaul of the system rather than incremental reforms. Social Democrats. Social Democrats find themselves somewhere between liberals and leftists. They endorse a mixed economy, blending the capitalist and socialist elements to create a socially conscious society. However, leftists argue that this compromise doesn't go far enough in addressing the root issues of inequality and exploitation embedded in the capitalist framework. It's true. It's true. Breaking free. The distinction lies in the willingness to break free from the confines of traditional politics. Leftists are not just content with mere policy changes. They demand a fundamental restructuring of society. Democrats and liberals might embrace social safety nets, but leftists call for a complete departure from the system they see as inherently flawed. In essence, being a leftist is a bold declaration and a departure from mainstream politics, and a call for transformative societal change. While Democrats and liberals may share certain goals, leftists envision a more profound revolution, one that shakes the very foundations of existing power structures. So next time someone dons the label of leftist, remember, it's more than just a party affiliation. It's a commitment to forging a new path beyond the familiar terrain of democratic politics. There you have it. And that will conclude going over my website. There's, been a lot that we've covered today. And I think I'm going to wrap it up with that. Again, my name is D. Liam Dorris, and I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives in Indiana's 9th Congressional District. This will be my third run, and I'm here trying to represent everybody. As my website clearly shows, I'm a democratic socialist, which means I'm not playing tribal politics. I'm thinking about the well-being of all the working class. That goes from the left to the right and everything in between. Whether you're on the capitalist political spectrum or whether you're on a socialist political spectrum, it doesn't matter. I'm looking out for everybody's best interests. And these have been, the issues that I care about. I've gone through and read a lot of this. I've commented on a lot of this. And I hope to get your vote. And if not, I hope that you still support all my efforts. And even if you don't want to support my efforts, I hope you like my ideas and support the policies and see the same vision for America as what I see. Again, my name is D. Liam Dorris. Have a great day.